What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Litecast here on the CF After Dark Network. It's great to be with you on a Tuesday night. I am Austin Keeney. I am joined by Matt Nelson, fresh back from St. Louis. Let's get it started now. Are we a pro Dom Nelson podcast? We did get some Dom Nelson minutes in the Kentucky game. We kind of have to address it first, right?
The elephant in the room.
Matt, was there a crowd pop when he went in there? I saw you were down there on Sunday.
I felt something pop when he came in there. I knew this was. I texted you, Keeney. Did I not text you when he came in? I was like, guys, Dom Nelson's in the game. We were both like, great. We're gonna get Dom Nelson chatter on the podcast, like clockwork. How about that? St. Louis was great, Keeney.
Were you there Friday and Sunday?
Yes, was at both games. We actually came down Thursday. I got to take the kids into work. Where I work is headquartered out of St. Louis, but usually I'm just there on my own and don't have a chance to take the kids. So we got to bring them in, which they loved. They had a lot of fun doing that. And it was 90 degrees. It was warmer than it was for people who were in Florida, of which I knew a bunch of those, right? So what are the odds that it's 90 degrees there and it's 65 in St. Pete, Florida? Lube Gehrig, I appreciate that. We really do. That's the good stuff right there.
Matt, we have some business to attend to before we get into the pod. Some exciting news, actually. I think this is the first time we've done this since we've been doing our thing here live. So we are sponsored by the Iowa Distilling Company.
How about that?
Yeah, shout out to our friends down there in Cumming, Iowa. Their support of CF After Dark throughout the postseason. We're excited to partner with them as a local Iowa-based company that loves the Cyclones just as much as you do. Recognized by City View as the best local distillery and best whiskey 8 years running. Iowa State 1858 vodka, the official spirit of ISU athletics. Benefits athletes every time you buy it. And Prairie Fire. Shout out Prairie Fire. Oh, Matt is audio only for a minute. He must be dipping into the Prairie Fire. I'm here right now. Just didn't want to do it on camera.
Going for a Prairie Fire shooter. Yeah, that's how exciting is that? Cumming is great. If I didn't think about those words before I uttered them.
Awesome for me.
Awesome town, great bike trail, great bar there in town. So there's actually plenty to do in that little burb. So if you're not familiar, take advantage of the nice weather this summer. Bike down, go to the distillery and support our show. How about that?
So Friday night late. What are you dipping into? Are you going like just Prairie Fire shots and like beer chasers, or are you thinking like a Moscow Mule with 1858 vodka?
Love Moscow Mules. I actually had that with the last time I had it was with cranberry, like vodka cran. Really good.
Vodka cran, okay.
Yeah, I don't order those all the time. Like I know that sounds fruity, like a little girlish, but I mean, man, it's pretty good. Vodka with a little cranberry juice always hits.
Matthias watching.
Yeah, he would know from experience. Yep. This is great, Keeney. How are you, man? How did you take in? We got a lot to catch up on. The Big 12 tournament's old news since you were out of pocket last week. But did you get to imbibe the first week of the tournament? I know we love this week. Before we get to Iowa State, like take me through your tournament weekend. Did you enjoy it?
Well, let's just say thank goodness Iowa State played Friday, Sunday, because I got back on Saturday night from being off the grid. Got to check out Nebraska Vanderbilt Saturday night, which was awesome. We'll talk about the rest of the bracket as we get into this, and then Iowa State having that standalone spot on Sunday afternoon was pretty cool. We'll talk about the game. I think the number one thing we got to start with. This is the big news. Probably the only thing that Iowa State fans are paying. Like the primary thing they're paying attention to this week is Joshua Jefferson and his ankle.
Right.
So, Matt, I wanted to contact you as the official medical correspondent of Cyclone Fanatic After Dark. What do you have for us on Joshua Jefferson?
As my camera gets out of whack. The CFAD doctor, we have the stats and information department, and now we have the medical staff. It's still attached, Keeney. That's the good news. From what I have heard through our sources that people in the know is that nobody knows anything. The coaching staff has no reason to divulge it one way or the other. The MRI was routine, and from what I've heard, nothing serious showed, just like the X-ray. So I think
frankly, there's no reason to respond to anything. I don't think you really know
why would you? Yeah.
how is it going to respond to treatment day by day? Nobody really knows. So
Right.
Friday is what you're aiming for, I guess. We'll see. But yeah, nobody knows anything, I think is the big thing. Everybody wants updates. I wish we had them. We just don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's no real good reason for the staff to divulge that
No,
until we get closer to Friday.
I wouldn't if I was them. Competitive reasons wise, there's no reason to do that. So, yeah, I think we can talk about kind of the prognosis with him, without him, all those things. But um, I really want to commend this team overall. I think that's the biggest thing since we've talked last, Keeney. We talked after the Arizona State game to close the regular season, and since they have strung together 5 extremely high level basketball games. They've played well defensively. They move the ball on offense. You've gotten contributions from pretty much everybody up and down the roster, and they're playing with crazy energy right now. Like, very hard. They know that this is it for those seniors, and I think we even saw them kicking in another gear on Sunday, which I didn't think was possible with the way that they had been playing. So I'm just really impressed with where this team is at, Keeney. I think even despite the injury, you can objectively look at this team and say that they're playing incredible basketball right now over the last 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, so I think what I'd like to do is rewind to Friday because you were in the arena,
right?
And the Jefferson injury happened really early in the game.
Yep.
So, what was the reaction right away when that happened? Like, did all the air go out of the? I mean, Iowa State obviously. I mean, they were playing an overmatched opponent. They won very easily, but take me through your thought process and like seeing that happen in person and just what happened from there.
I don't know that I paid attention to the rest of that half, Keeney. I tried. Full disclosure, like, that was great this afternoon.
Chris, all right, we'll get into. We have a lot to get into because obviously we got to talk about what happened on the other side of the state. We got to talk about the women's basketball program. It's all on the docket, but
we don't got to talk about it.
When we get super chats, we gotta bring him up. So Hassel was a fraud to Iowa State. I mean, when is he not? And he's just his confidence level is way too high right now. So
correct.
Fred is going to have to do us a favor.
Yeah. So thank you in advance, Fred. Yeah, like I watched that rest of that half, and like we played well, but I just kind of sat there like this. I think we all did. Like, we were all just so nervous about what just happened, about because you have no information. He didn't come back to the bench until later in that game, so like I think we felt a little bit better walking out of it. But man, for that first half, it was like being in a dream. I wasn't even going down the route of Niang's injury, anything like that. It was just such a bummer. It did vacuum the energy out of that arena, and I can't believe that team found the juice to pull through it and blow the doors off of that team. Give them a lot of credit because we were all like, "Oh no, this is what a nightmare." So that was the reaction live. Sunday was great. We were all nervous as heck. I was so nervous, but once that game started, you could tell how amped up this team was, and like it was a great atmosphere Sunday. But boy, it was weird. It was a weird one on Friday, no question.
So, all right. I mean, Tennessee State, it is what it is, and the injury happened so early. It's like we didn't really. Right. I don't know. It's hard to take much from that.
Murdered them though, which
we
was
won
fun.
handily. You get into Killian Torrey played great, but maybe that's your positive takeaway. You get into Sunday, taking on Kentucky. They got off to a great start. It seemed like they were getting every bounce to fall their way. They were shooting the lights out for the first 8 minutes of the game, and then Tamin Lipsey just kind of decided, you know what? I'm not losing this game. I'm not letting my college career end right here.
No,
he was the best player on the floor on Sunday, and then the way that they were able to dial up the defense and just, I mean, Nate Heisey said it after the game, like we thought we could get them to quit, basically, and it's pretty much what happened. Kentucky,
yeah, they were right.
Did not want any part of playing the last 12 minutes of that game.
Nope. They packed it in. They folded, which we all thought they would, right? We knew it was possible. With the way that team had played all year, just very up and down. I want to give Chris Williams credit because he caught it Friday. Honestly, Keeney, I didn't notice because I was too distraught. Their body language was awful on Friday. Or if you go back and watch that Santa Clara game, and you notice it right away, like there'd be a bad play going to timeout, and they would just be standing there like pointing at each other, arguing with each other. Like it was that team is not a team, not playing for each other. Um, that some of that's Mark Pope issue, roster construction. They do have a few injuries that for sure impacted that team, but yeah, that at the same time, right? They got hot and they beat a really good Santa Clara team that I'm in hindsight glad we didn't have to play because that team would have been playing for everything with crazy energy. Um, Instead, you got a bunch of pros trying to eke out one more season in college, and they did not play well together. And that was very evident. It was super evident because of how well Iowa State plays together, right? Like, could not have been a bigger contrast. So, um, also want to give TJ credit for his game plan for talking about that with the team. Like, we're going to crush their spirit. He knows which buttons to press, and boy, did it ever work on Sunday. I just don't think if you would have told me without Jefferson they were going to beat that team by 20, Keeney, I would not have believed you. Would not have believed you. I think it just goes to show how well this team is playing right now.
Yeah, winning by 20 maybe was a stretch. I thought Iowa State was going to have enough to win that game without Jefferson. I mean, just a
right.
I don't know, man. It was just a thing of beauty. What more can you say watching us just take the ball away from Kentucky over and over?
The variety of turnovers. There was
like they couldn't.
There was a
5-second call. Yep,
a 5-second call.
Just in down passes they threw away. Steals for
correct
layups. The other
multiple
end.
Travels, 2 or 3 moving screens. I mean, dude, it, stepped out of bounds in the corner on a dunk attempt that they made. I mean, it was every manner and variety of turnover you can think of. They committed, and that the team gets credit for that, man. That's not easy to do. Well, maybe it is against that Kentucky team. At the same time, like that's a really good program that you beat, and a team that still had a ton of talent. Like Ortega always an incredible player. So, man, it's nice to be back in the Sweet 16. Let's kind of go more big picture before we talk about what's coming next. Like we have talked about what did this season need to be a success, and I think
I've been dying to ask you this question, Matt.
Well, let me start with you. I think Elite Eight is the answer for just about everybody, right? Because it's been so long since we've been there. But you do want to break through. Think about how long it has taken some coaches to break through. More than anything, right? It's you make the Sweet 16 in your first year, you make it one other time. This really helps reinforce to me that you're for real. You start looking at some of those programs, Kenny, in the Sweet 16. Do you realize Houston has made the Sweet 16 every year going back to 2019?
I mean, it feels realistic.
That's
right?
Obscene. That's obscene. Like how I want to say Duke has made it 3 or 4 straight years. So I like this is what really
like TJ's gotten us there 3 times in 5 years.
That's what really good programs do, man. Like
do you realize that Kansas hasn't made the Sweet 16 since 2022 when they won the championship?
North Carolina, right? Like look at them. So I think like Alabama and Arkansas, this is maybe like second or third consecutive for them too. Like you're in crazy elite company when you can do that. And eventually you are going to advance past that. That's the benefit. That's the beauty, Keeney, of making it that many times. It's like, is an NFL team more likely to win a Super Bowl if they make the playoffs once every 10 years or if they make them 7 out of 10? You got to give yourself more chances to do it. So the fact that they've been able to A, put together teams, B, play well enough, and C, perform well enough in the tournament, 3 out of 5 years he's been here, I think it just cements him as one of the best coaches in the sport, and what he's doing works. And that, I don't know, that's my thoughts. I think I'm happy with where this season is at right now. You've got an injury that could prevent you from advancing. And I think that's probably tampered most people's expectations. But Keeney, I'm curious if it's changed yours.
I think, well, more than anything, these last 3 years have kind of reinforced like this was the expectation of what Iowa State should accomplish as a 2 seed in the bracket. TJ has really put a stamp on this program at this point. That first year,
right,
it was awesome to make the Sweet 16. We all knew that team was overmatched. We all knew that team hit their absolute ceiling. But,
correct.
You know, 2 years ago, you run into a red-hot Illinois team in the Sweet 16 that was basically a coin flip of a game. and they beat you in a tight game. This
Right.
year, you get back to this point and you're favored to advance. We'll get into talking about Tennessee, but like, it's tough. It's so tough to talk about this with the potential of, like, if Joshua Jefferson does not play on Friday and this is it, I'm probably going to leave a little bit disappointed, if I'm being completely honest with you, because Tennessee's nothing special. I think they're pretty comparable to the Kentucky team that we just smushed.
Beatable. Absolutely. Not right.
It's a team that we should be able to beat. We should have enough to beat them if our guys play well, even without Joshua Jefferson.
I think I agree. And how scary is that to mention, right? We're
putting it all on the line, Matt. We've been looking to take this next step for like the last 3 years now. Everyone knows, 2000 was the last Elite Eight. Like,
but you just said
the time.
Without our All-American, we should still have enough to win and get to the Elite Eight. That's just kind of a crazy sentence to utter, but I agree with you. I like how this matchup works out in Iowa State's favor. Kenny, I don't think I felt that way in any of the last two. So I was in Chicago in 2016, and I was not too for the Miami game or the Illinois game. But that Virginia game, we knew that team we were playing, go back to 2016, was an absolute wagon. They were incredible. I think Morris had kind of a bad shoulder, and that game ended up being exactly what we thought it was, Keeney, which was basically George Niang was the only person who could score. Because you played a team of elite athletes. They were so much like they made our guards look like absolute scrubs in that game. And think about who the guards were on those teams, right? Like they were not very athletic. And then you had a chance against Miami, but that team, again, couldn't score. Super one-dimensional team. Could only guard. And against Illinois, you had groin injuries to both Gilbert and to Taman. And then you ran into an absolute wagon in an Illinois team that was lethal in transition and had just a couple incredible guards that you could not stay in front of. But going to that Illinois game, I also, Keeney, didn't really feel like we had a chance. I thought we could win, but I had watched Illinois play, and that team was terrifying when they got downhill with Terrence Shannon Jr. Same thing against Miami. I'm like, man, I don't know that we can win this game. Like, our offense is so bad. And I think in that season, too, you knew, like, yeah, we're not the threat to win the title, just like in 2016. I think 2 years ago, maybe we felt that good about that team, but this is clearly a change where everybody knows that this team is deep, dangerous, athletic, will guard the absolute ass off, and can score. So I think it's okay to have expectations higher, Keeney, than just making to this game, because this is the first team we've had since 16, since before into the early 2000s where it feels like they can get to a Final Four. And I think the last, 2.5 weeks of basketball have confirmed that for me.
Yep, we've been playing at such a high level for the last few games. I mean, it's pretty clear that Iowa State is one of the 5 or 6 best teams in college basketball this year. Like, they've proven it basically from the jump.
Yeah.
And now it's just time the tournament's a crapshoot. I don't know if we caught a favor by a 6 seed advancing to play us, or if Tennessee's just better than Virginia. But like,
I don't know.
Either way, there was a lot of discussion on Sunday afternoon. Well, who do you want to play? Who would you rather play? I'm like, I think we're kind of on the same page here. If Iowa State plays their A game, they're better than both teams, and they'll win.
I agree. I do want to just linger on the matchup a little bit. Like, there's some things that work in Iowa State's favor. The common opponent theory, if you want to transitive property it, Tennessee lost to this Kentucky team twice.
Yep.
And Kentucky was quite a bit more physical than they were in those games. Kentucky also has good size. I will give them credit. I was really impressed by Chandler and some of felt like they had 5 or 6 blocks against Iowa State. Like, they blocked a significant number of shots, several dunks. I want to say they blocked at least 2 dunk attempts. Clearly very physical, very athletic. Are they as big across the board as Tennessee? Probably not. But Keeney, I don't think that Kentucky team is going to be that much less athletic than what we saw, or that Tennessee is going to be that much less athletic than what we saw from Kentucky. Certainly bigger. Keeney, I want to. I subscribe to a few theories about Iowa State. I think when we play really slow, grinded out teams, um, we can win those games. It's just ugly, but this team is okay winning ugly, right? So on the season, similar, pace wise, Keeney, you've played Iowa and Houston, two teams that are in the Sweet 16, and you won both matchups there. Were they close? Yes, they were both close games. But again, it's not going to be the shock that it was to Kentucky to play Iowa State, where they had clearly not played a team like us all year. We have played teams very similar to the Vols. We have. And I've seen other Big 12 fans, Kansas fans, other people say, yeah, like this is a good matchup for them. The other thing I want to say, like with physicality, right? We know you got to rebound and be tough. Pretty easy message to give. They're one of the poor 3-point shooting teams in the Power Five. I forget what their KenPom rank is overall, Kenny, but it's not super high. They really
shoot 34% as a team from three.
Yeah, it was 33, 33.8, whatever it is. Yeah.
In KenPom, 171st in the country in 3-point percentage. I don't know where that ranks in just the Power Five, but they're especially for teams that are still playing right now, they're a below average 3-point shooting team.
Correct. Yep.
Like there's two stats that are going to stand out when you look at their KenPom profile. They are the number one offensive rebounding team in the country, Tennessee.
Yep.
But Iowa State has handled teams with these giant front lines that crash the glass pretty well. Think about Houston. We didn't get crushed in the offensive boards in that game. There were a couple of stretches where they were able to, dial up on us, but we handled them pretty well in rebounding. And then Arizona, in the Big 12 tournament, like the second time we played them, took them to the absolute brink. Played a great game. Didn't get overwhelmed on the offensive rebounds. So I think
almost out rebounded Arizona on the road too, Keeney, in that game.
Yeah,
rebounded really well.
I think we have what it takes to counter that. And then the other thing with Tennessee is that they're not good at taking care of the ball. They're 200th in the country in turnover percentage. And obviously that's our bread and butter. So them preferring to play slow. I mean, Iowa State's going to do everything they can to speed up their guards and put pressure on them. I mean, just anecdotally, you watch the end of that Virginia game. Tennessee should have closed that out and won pretty comfortably, but they let Virginia back in the game because they couldn't hold on to the ball.
I want to say they had at least 10 second half turnovers. There's quite a few, for sure. And I think where we've struggled is teams that go for early offense and quick shots. And
like the BYUs of the world, or the team in Texas Tech, the teams that like spread us out and just bomb from three.
Yeah, and teams that
trouble. Tennessee doesn't do that.
Teams that can just move the ball around and bomb away from three. Have 2 or 3 incredible 3-point shooters on that roster. It's what BYU and Tech have had the last couple of years where they've given us a ton of grief. And they're just not that team, right? Like their profile is really interesting, right? So like I went and pulled up the last time they played. You're gonna laugh at this. The last time they played Kentucky. Hold on, whose season long turnover ranked 20? Yep, 15th best, second worst.
Scooby's got the stats for us. 225th nationally in turnover percentage, second worst in the SEC at holding on to the ball.
Keeney, when they played Kentucky last, which was in late February, they only had, you're not going to believe this, 4 players attempt 3-pointers in that game. They played 9 guys. Bishop was 0 for 2, Gillespie 4 for 11, and Nate Ament was 4 for 6. And then they had 1 guy off the bench. Samari Evans attempted 2. Like it's just not part of their game. They shot 38% that day. They shot 37% from the floor. Their overall shooting percentages aren't, crazy high either. So they're an interesting team. Like I've noticed if you go look at their minutes, Keen Dog, like 5 out of their top 7 in minutes played per game are forwards. 5 forwards, Keeney.
Yeah, they're huge. Like Jalen Carey is a load. Nate Ament is, he's going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft. He's 6'10".
Can shoot threes. Yep.
And can shoot a little bit. Like they just have big dudes. So like it's going to be a test for our front line, but
correct.
We've handled those teams that have these massive front lines, especially lately. We've done pretty
well.
Yeah,
Immen's a 32% 3-point shooter on the season, so adept, capable, but 32% still.
He might be a guy that you're
very average.
You would much rather him shoot like 7 threes in this game than attack downhill.
I think where the advantage can come to this game is speeding them up in transition, and Keeney, with the amount of forwards that they play. I know that sounds like they're tall enough to pass out of a double team, but are they going to be comfortable handling the ball? With the way that we're going to try to deny Gillespie with the ball, are other people going to be comfortable? Are those bigs going to be comfortable handling the ball? Getting trapped in the corner, getting trapped along the baseline. Like, it's going to be a lot more pressure. They play that style of pressure. Are they used to it when someone plays back? And their turnover numbers show that, no, it's not a strength. So I'll be very curious. I just, in general, Keeney, the teams that really scare me are what Illinois was 2 years ago. Teams that play crazy fast, crazy downhill, or teams like BYU and Tech, where it is incredibly fluid passing, like the Russians in the 80 Olympics, and 4 guys that can just nail threes. That is what we've historically struggled with.
Right.
So no, I'm excited for it. I think getting Michigan, if you get that far, you cross that bridge when you come to it. You're going to really want Josh Jefferson back for Joshua for hopefully both of these games if you can. But I think the game plan is really easy, right? It's Otzelberger's got a challenge, played Buchanan, Momcilovic, probably even Troy and Lipsy. Like, you guys have got to get rebounds. Like, but that may be Tennessee's real only source of offense in this game. It's rebounding and then Gillespie. I think you've got to put good effort into limiting him. Again, Keeney, we've got good on-ball defenders.
Yeah, we should have the pieces we can throw at Gillespie.
Correct. It won't be. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but this team is built to have the pieces to do that. So,
and then yeah, you have the wild card of maybe your All-American plays.
It gives you more rebounding, even if he can really only provide some passing and some rebounding. I think even him at 60, 70%, giving you 20 minutes would still help immensely. It would add a little bit more size, which you might need. So, yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's a great chance. It's not like it's been, like I said, in other years where it's like, well, it's nice we made it, but I really don't know that we have a chance to win it. I think not only do they have a chance to do that, I think they have a chance to make the Final Four. That
like this would be a crushing loss on Friday night if we lose. Like yes. We talked about, Illinois felt like a toss-up. You really would have loved to win that game. Miami, they were better than us.
Yep.
Even if you think about that Illinois team, they played UConn in the Elite Eight, who won the title, and just absolutely clobbered them. Like, that's what would have happened to us too. But I would say it does feel like they're on that level, or maybe just like a half a step below that level of those top 3 teams. Like,
yep.
we are very much a threat to get to the Final Four. It's not unreasonable to think that we could do that.
Can we talk about a few reasons why they're playing so well? Let's hit on a few players, and I know we've got some other topics we want to hit on. I think Nate Heisey's praises need to continue to be sung as loud as we can. A total mentality change once Jefferson went out. In terms of him just being nasty, more aggressive,
shooting with more confidence,
going to the rim, finishing. And on defense, he's always been a pest. He had Kentucky guys ready to fight him on Sunday because he's very annoying on the defensive side of the ball. But he's just been such a inspiration, I think, to his teammates. And him making that 3 going into the halftime Sunday, Keeney, I think is why we stormed back in that game so aggressively. Like, what a momentum flip. If you're Kentucky, you're like, man, we feel like we played pretty well and we're down 1. And we know Iowa State did not play well. So this is not a good feeling. Clark Kellogg called it going into the locker room. He said, Kentucky's only in this game because they've hit way more three-pointers than normal and some tough shots, and I don't think that's going to continue. He nailed it. So Heisey has just been, I see that comment. He's been phenomenal. It's the only way I can explain it. He's a senior. He knows this is his last shot, and he's really maximizing it. And I'm gushing about him, but he's just been great. Can you anything to add on Heisey?
I mean, just if he's going to shoot with confidence, like you need him to be a credible threat from the 3-point line. So he's gonna have to make a 3 or 2 against Tennessee.
And they need to get to the rim. That's one of the biggest things I have noticed since, honestly, the Tech game in Hilton, Keeney, which I know didn't go well, but attacking the basket. Really, since then, we have seen a much more concerted effort to get to the rim, to try to get downhill. You saw it against Arizona State at home. You saw it all throughout the tournament. You really saw it in this game against Kentucky. Think about the amount of layups they made, contested or otherwise. And Nate's contributed to that because he can't just stand on the 3-point line and not shoot it. He's got to be able to shoot threes and get to the rim. And I think the same goes for Killian Torrey. And we got to mention him as well because ever since the Arizona game, the tournament, Keeney, he has really morphed back into what we saw very early on in the season.
So neutral site, non-conference Torrey is the key.
That's right. The demon.
We're throwing guys back in the torture chamber.
Is that a few pick sixes, deflections? His effort looks higher. His motor seems better. He seems more energetic. He's cheering on his teammates. Like, I'm not saying he wasn't fully engaged, but he is back. That has nothing to do with the jump shooting. I think the jump shooting for him is a total bonus. You need him to take some threes and be willing to look to consider those looks. But I loved his cutting on Sunday. Got 3 open layups because of it and finished those plays off. Got to the line, made both free throws. Like, we are such a different team when he gives you basically are banking on 10 to 15 points between him or Jamarian Bateman, right? That's, if you get that, you're not losing. And we've yet to get both, but at some point we are going to get both. Where Torrey can get 10 going to the rim, Keeney, and Bateman can make 3 threes, and then you're really screwed. So I don't know, anything else to add on Torrey?
Just that it's, you know what, we've been waiting all conference season, it felt like, for him to kind of pull it back together. So great time for him to go ahead and get that done. I think we got to carve out a minute here to talk about Tamin Lipsey too. I mean,
yeah,
the effort that he's playing with, the leadership that he is displaying in these last couple weeks, like, he gets it. He knows this is the end of the road for him. And I really think he willed that team against Kentucky to just like get them out of their funk. He's just like, you know what? Just gonna put my head down. I'll go to the rim. I'll make 2 free throws. Did that like 3 or 4 times in the first half. Like, that's the Tamin that we need.
Can I give you a comparison?
Go for it. What do you got?
It's to Tamin himself. That game on Sunday is the best game I've seen him play since the Big 12 tournament final 2 years ago against Houston. Remember that game? He was hitting step back threes, taking in rhythm transition threes, going downhill, attacking the rim. Like, that step back he took in the corner was totally unnecessary and incredible. He also made another one, kind of like an early offense 3, where I think someone went under a screen and he just said, okay, from dead on to the hoop at the top of the key there, launched a 3, switched it. He had a couple breakout steals. Like, he was everywhere. Tamin became DeAndre Kane. He really did.
I mean, like the undersized version of DeAndre Kane.
Going to the rim, like working the pick and roll aggressively. Like, he just looked laser focused. He looked like he was locked in for that game. And it's so fun when he plays like that. Like, his jump shot looks better. I got to think he's finally healthy. He's finally got an NCAA tournament where he feels really good. And I know that's hard because he's on the floor a ton. And I mean, I think he was probably on the floor 7 or 8 times in that game. He went down a ton. But you're right. Like, they need this version of him.
He was the alpha dog. He was
the alpha dog.
The guy that everybody turned to and was like, all right, I'm going to follow Tamin into war right now. Hey, if you're an Arizona fan watching us right now, shout out to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Can we talk about Blake Buchanan too? He's been really good. Going back to, honestly, the Arizona game on the road, like, getting more rebounds. He's been active. He's been making some of these little, 6-foot push shots. I know he didn't finish a couple around the rim, but they intentionally chose him to make 2 free throws because Torrey couldn't shoot, and he splashed him. Like, he's just been playing at a super, super high level. He had, 8 or 9 assists in one of those Big 12 tournament games. I think it was 8 assists is what he finished with. Like, he has been really important to this final stretch as well. And there were some games, Keeney, in the mid part of the year, he kind of disappeared a little bit at times. And I don't know if it was foul trouble or just matchup driven, but it's hard not to ignore the big man down there as well. He's been great.
I feel like we kind of, shout out everybody up and down the roster. I mean, everybody's playing well. You thought you're going into a tournament where you're fully healthy, and then boom, your All-American goes out. But like, I don't know, man. You throw that team out there that played at Kentucky on Sunday. That team would have beat anybody in the field on that day. So
right. Can I get one more? Can I get one more shout out?
Give me one more.
Dom
Nelson.
Matthias, if you're listening, you're gonna love this one. How about Nate Schmidt? I think the offensive sets, maybe it's because we're actually running sets, it has been noticeably better since the end of the season. I don't know if it's stuff they were saving for the tournament. Some of those like fake dives to the corner with Bateman on Sunday drew some lobs. Like they were really running a lot more sets than I'm used to seeing, and it was pretty creative. There's some out of timeout stuff that worked well. Like our offensive execution, whatever that game plan was, I don't know. Did you notice the same thing? To me, it just seemed to be better. Like we ran a little bit more sets on Sunday, and it seemed to work. That's just my maybe the transition opened all that up, but I don't know. I was really impressed with how they looked offensively.
We got guys moving around too, especially like guys moving without the ball. That's when things get bogged down and nobody's cutting, it just makes our offense look so much worse. So,
agreed.
I mean, it's just a difference maker. When you got guys engaged, you got guys moving around. So, all right. I think we should talk a little bit about the rest of the bracket, especially.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's start zooming out here, take a little bit more big picture look at stuff. So, obviously, we have our matchup, Iowa State, Tennessee here, but top of our region, Alabama and Michigan playing. Intriguing matchup here. Do you think Alabama can just like make 25 threes and beat Michigan?
I mean, yes, but will they? That's such a hard way to win. Michigan's really good, and if they're not shooting well, Michigan's going to gobble up those rebounds. I actually think yes, Kenny. I don't know. For some reason, I like Alabama in this game. They don't guard. They do not guard. Make no mistake. If Michigan gets down 12 early, Keeney, can they score at will enough to get back in it? Like Lendeborg's really good, and they've got a lot of size, and they can score pretty easy in the post. But Keeney, their guards have not been crazy impressive.
They're one good shooter towards ACL. Like,
correct.
I'm not sure.
They're pretty one-dimensional, and I think if they can stay in front, impose their will, use their size to kind of keep it at arm's length, I think they can win this game. But how do you do that with Bama when they play at that pace? I think if Bama makes a normal amount of threes, they may have more scoring than Michigan can muster. The question is, will Michigan's defense be able to keep them from getting looks in that way? I just don't know. It's a very interesting matchup.
I think Illinois-Houston might be the best matchup of the Sweet 16, to be completely honest. I mean, yep. Houston's looked awesome.
You're not gonna like my answer, but I have Illinois over Houston.
I had Illinois over Houston too when I initially picked my bracket because I wasn't sure if I loved the way Houston was playing down the stretch. But I don't know, man. I kind of feel like Houston might be putting it back together. And frankly, I mean, this is the Houston region, so they're going to get the benefit of not really having to travel. They should have a crowd advantage against Illinois. But that's another stylistic clash. Illinois spreads it out, runs a great offense. Houston will pack it in, crash the glass, play ridiculously hard defense. So I think that's maybe the most evenly matched matchup that we have in front of us. We're gonna come back to the other one in this region.
Yeah.
Go up to the top half of the bracket quick. Shout out to the Cinderella of this tournament, the Texas Longhorns. What do you think about that? Playing Purdue. I hate this Purdue team. I hate that they've got a cakewalk to the Elite Eight. Drives me nuts.
I know. I had Texas over BYU. I mean, they got a BYU team without its probably most important player, not best. And then a Gonzaga team full of
Gonzaga was fraud.
Get out of here.
We
Randy
can see it
Bennett.
now. Obviously, they lost in the second round. They were frauds this year. They were not that good.
I'm so sick of being burned by picking these WCC schools. Randy Bennett just exists to torture my bracket. Every year, I'm like, no, they can do it. Every year, Keeney, I should have learned. I asked you on this podcast last year, will St. Mary's ever win a first round game when I pick him? You said no. I didn't listen. It's my own fault. Yeah, I mean, you can be a Cinderella as an 11 seed. Like NC State did it out of the play-in with DJ Burns, right? Made a Final Four. Like
they were kind of likable, because they had DJ Burns. I don't think there's anything likable about Texas.
About Sean Miller in Texas? No, nothing like.
Get out of here. Arizona's going to have a battle with Arkansas. I'm kind of worried about them.
I am too. Arkansas can score. They play with tempo. Defense, again, not good. Better than Bama's. I heard Bigger Than 12 talk about this. They have one chance for victory, and that is wearing Acuff out on offense. Go after him, body the shit out of him. Have Bradley and those guards just you occupy him so much on defense and frustrate him. If he's having a horrible game on defense, then maybe you can kind of disrupt his offense. But again, I think
they got to kind of like bump him after the whistle,
Oh, yeah, correct.
Check him when when they're blocking him out, that kind of thing. Like
maul the crap out of him.
Because he's going to be the best player on the floor. So you've got to get him off his game. And if you can do that, then Arizona's going to be in good shape. But
Arizona can't go down 12 just like Michigan, Keeney. I think they will really struggle to climb out of it.
I think if I'm a betting man, which I am, I'm definitely taking Arkansas on the points in that game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on both Arkansas and Arizona from a gambling perspective wholeheartedly. Can we talk about Duke St. John's and jump to the other side?
What a matchup.
That's a very curious one. Duke's guards are not anything tremendously special, and St. John's talent is also inside, right? That's going to be a really interesting game. I think Duke, I would probably still lean Duke. Would it shock you if St. John's won that game?
It wouldn't. I think Duke is just kind of the slightly better version of St. John's.
But is Duke playing well right now?
The first round, definitely not. I mean, they handled TCU pretty well. Boozer is playing that well. The rest of Duke's roster,
no,
I don't think you could say that about them.
I would agree. And I also think that TCU game, it was closer until a series of bad calls and a technical really just broke it open. A technical that was very well earned by Jamie Dixon and very well deserved because they were just getting screwed in that game. But they were in a fight. And then it got away from TCU. And Duke did clamp down better defensively in the second half, but they've played one good half of basketball in this tournament? It's not a great sign. Duke, Chad, unfortunately, you're right.
About this point?
But counterpoint, Duke will get all the whistles. Yeah, no question. Get out of here, Duke. I do love Rick Pitino. I hope he never dies. He won't. He's a vampire. I think he'll be around for a while. Those long off seasons of hanging upside down in a cave really help keep him healthy.
I heard a really good joke about Pitino that I need to share with you.
I'm in. What is it?
So you remember how Kansas, they evened the game up with like 15 seconds left.
Right.
So, don't tell Rick Pitino 15 seconds isn't enough to draw something up. Get a game-winning play in there. All right. You know what? We drug it out. Here's the inevitable.
He's done a lot. He's done a lot in 15 seconds in his life. Boy, I couldn't hate anything more than what I see on this screen right now.
Though, is there not a part of you that's like Nebraska? They made it, and with Fred Hoiberg.
Okay, we've got to have the emotional fan conversation here real quick because this is what we do, Keeney. There's like 3 ways in which this is horrible. This game is horrible. This is. We'll get to. I have a game about this one, Keeney. We'll get to here in a second, but there's like 3 bad ways this goes wrong. I want to see if you can guess them. Can you guess like what the first thing that's bad about this is?
So, I mean, this game is before our game. So the idea that Ben McCollum reaches an Elite 8 before TJ Osborne.
There you go. That's
terrifying.
That's number one. That he because this game will be played before ours. So if they win, they will be able to, in fact, claim it's like when a twin is born 10 minutes before the other one, right? Like, and we could just get beat by Tennessee, and now all of a sudden we're home. And I don't want to live in that world, Kenny. I don't like that reality exists. But you nailed it. That's number one.
Yeah, Iowa beats
Number
Fred Hoiberg. That's number two.
well, or conversely, Fred Hoiberg makes an Elite Eight before we do. I know most of us have buried that hatchet. I know my wife hasn't. I know there's a segment of this fan base that also probably has not. That does not enjoy watching him coach that team. So, like,
I'm gonna be honest with you, though. I feel like that was as mutually beneficial a breakup as it took a long time to get there because Fred had to flame out with the Bulls and we had to flame out with Steve Prohm. But
right.
Not that it was a good thing that Fred left Iowa State, but like, look at where it's led both of them to, where TJ was the guy all along and he's taken the program to new heights. And Fred has done something at Nebraska that literally no one had ever done before him.
I agree. I'm here for it. I hate the discussion about, he was born here and his dad played here. A lot of people say, oh, you just had him for a little while. We had him for all of high school, all of college, and 5 years as a coach.
I would like to call out the broadcasts that try and like, oh, well, Fred Hoiberg, his grandpa, was involved in the Nebraska program and he was born in Lincoln. I'm like, well, okay. When you think Fred Hoiberg, you don't think about Nebraska first. You think about Ames first.
Correct. Yeah. So we've already talked about two things I hate. I mean, third, it stinks to just lose it was like Iowa fans with Iowa State football saying for years, like, can't win 8 games, can't win 9 games, can't win 10 games, can't win 11 games, can't win a big time bowl game, blah, blah, blah. We eventually just murdered all those ones. One of the ones that we had that I really enjoyed was no Sweet 16s. Like, hadn't made one since a lot of Iowa fans in this state were even alive. And now with stupid fake Drake gold tie boy, they make one in year one. Just pisses me off. Yes, Brady, my blood pressure does spike. The fourth thing is all these Iowa fans who do not give a shit about basketball now get to claim that they're a huge basketball fan.
This is the Chris Hassel thing, and I know he loves basketball, but like
Chris Hassel, who's done nothing but whine and complain and not pay attention to basketball, is now celebrating in front of his TV like they just won the Natty and is reposting all these videos. Like, come on, get out of here. You guys haven't attended games in that stadium for 25 years, and now all of a sudden you get a front run? Come on.
Well, we
all see what you're doing, Chiefs fans.
I think I understand why nobody goes to the games because there's no air conditioning in Carver.
That's true. There's no air conditioning in Carver. Very good point. We're just ranting here, Brady. I know you're listening. It's just you gotta give us this moment. Like, it would have been so much better had we been able to just make the Sweet 16 on our own and enjoy nobody else being there that's close. And before some of you are saying, "Oh, it's fun that all three of us locally are in here."
No, it's not.
Crap.
It's not fun that I was here. It's not fun.
Not enjoyable. Okay.
But do you want to do your game?
Yeah, let's do our game quick. Matchups you would rather see in the Sweets in this situation instead of Iowa, Nebraska. I'm going to start. I would rather Stalin and Mussolini had made the Sweet 16 and be playing. That's a much more enjoyable, better for society situation than this one we've got here. Keeney, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing that comes to mind is like my 3-year-old versus the common cold because
that's very true.
It's just ravaging the house this week. We can't get him to daycare because he's sick, and it's like I would rather see his immune system fight off those germs than watch Iowa, Nebraska play in the Sweet 16.
I'd rather in the germ category, like hand, foot, and mouth versus shingles. Like I'd rather have to contend with getting one of those. I've never had shingles. I've had hand, foot, and mouth. It's the sickest I think I've ever been. I think I would rather go through that than deal with whoever wins this game. I'm not happy about this, Skinny. I'm not happy about it. There's not
1% of you that's like you're Cy Husker.
I know
you got some Husker in you.
I do. I have a degree from there. I will be cheering for them. And it's probably the better story. No offense to Iowa, like and seeing NU and UI is like food poisoning. Thank you. And we're being a little hyperbolic here again, Van Kooten. I know you're listening. Like, this is what we do. We're Iowa State fans. I think this is just what we get to do. Um, but Nebraska's a close rival too. Like, I don't want good things to happen to Missouri or like this is okay. My last one I had was Drake, you and I, Sweet 16. I'd rather both of them play each other in the Sweet 16 and us be on the couch than have to watch this. Um, no, like I am good with where. Let's have a little Fred conversation here. I am good with where Fred is at. He didn't leave us for Nebraska. He went to the Bulls. Um, and also like from a story perspective, like I love what Hassel's doing. That I was going to ruin Nebraska's story. It might be the other way around. Like that story is incredible, but also again, Iowa hasn't been to a Sweet 16 in forever. Hasn't been relevant in basketball. Even when they had a National Player of the Year in Luka Garza, they flamed out in the tournament twice and had one get canceled by COVID. Right, so like have not been on anybody's consciousness for an extremely long time in this sport. Nebraska has never been on anybody's consciousness. So they're similar. Nebraska is definitely a worse program. It's not even close. They're one of the worst basketball programs in Division One. But it is. I think Iowa fans are really proud, and while I give him crap, McCollum can clearly coach. I think he drives me nuts with his antics. Seeing grown men dressed just like him at games with ties just bothers the crap out of me. However, he can very clearly coach, and I'll be very curious to see like long term. Is his mindset just always going to be kind of the way TJ's was early, which is we're not all that good, but we're just going to drag you down into the mud with us and kind of Kirk Ferentz you to death, which is a compliment. Like TJ Otzelberger did that, Keeney, for the first 3 years he coached here. Or can he eventually run more fluid offense and figure this out going forward? I think it probably helps them make it a Sweet 16 because this team is, I call it fake Drake, but it's literally built basically on one player. And 6 guys were on this prior team. And at some point, he's going to have to live life without him. And this probably helps them get better players in that program. And Kenny, I think that's why Iowa fans are the reason they're so excited. A lot of it is making the Sweet 16, obviously, but this is probably good for them long term.
Another thing I'm over, as long as we're just like venting about this, is I don't need to hear about his record in Division II. I don't need to hear that he won like 45, tournament games in a row in Division II. What was his competition?
Division II schools.
Right. Like it's not relevant to anything he's doing now. Like he's obviously a great coach. What he did at Northwest Missouri State is not relevant to what he's doing at Iowa right now.
Who's a really good coach at UNI and in the Big East? Greg McDermott. You know who was not a good coach in the Big 12? Greg McDermott. Didn't translate. Right. Not saying that's the same here, Keeney, but it's comparable. So to any Iowa fans listening, we appreciate you. We say some of this in jest, but also same time, this is a poison pill for us. It's ex-Iowa State coach who is the mayor whose number is retired in the rafters, possibly making an Elite Eight before our coach who we love or your biggest rival. I mean, it's not a great situation. It just isn't.
I mean, Matt, as you think about like what Ben McCollum's going to do long term, I think he's going to have way more resources at Kansas, so it doesn't matter.
That's right. He's going to have way more resources at North Carolina. I love all the Iowa fans responding to like Hassel's tweets about Otzelberger about him going to North Carolina. Like they also aren't going to start getting drug into that conversation. I don't know here in about 10 minutes, because it's going to happen for them too. There's no question. So at least with Otzelberger, you've got a guy who coached here prior for a long time, whose wife is a legendary basketball player here. That McCollum's an Iowa guy, sure, but it doesn't have the ties to his school that TJ does to here. They're gonna hire somebody good. Yeah, and Bill Self, same thing. There's kind of crazy that those jobs might both be open at the same time.
Yeah, you mentioned North Carolina. Obviously, Hubert Davis out. Some breaking news tonight. Going to Cancun.
He is going to Cancun. Is Jerome Tang at Cancun? Do you think? Do we know where he is?
He's got to be home by now.
How much you think he's home
there? Has he cleared the buyout? He hasn't gotten the buyout money yet. I don't think. They tried to keep that away from him.
That's true. Maybe he doesn't need the buyout money. He did get a pretty fat contract prior to get fired.
Wes Miller. It's some other coaching news that we should talk about in the Big 12. So Cincinnati hired coach.
Well, Wes Miller demoted himself. He put himself in the portal and went to Charlotte. I'm sure they
McDermotted himself.
He McDermotted himself. I'm sure they told him like, hey man, it's not looking great for you. You should maybe think about getting out of here. But that was kind of a wild headline. Like, not fired at Cincinnati. I'm just going to Charlotte. So that's interesting.
Well,
They got a good
they've got a
coach
guy
though.
now too. Calhoun from Utah State coming over. I guess he's a Cincinnati guy. I think he's a Huggins guy.
Yep. Utah State
Seems
was
like
nasty. That was nasty this year. Really good.
seems like a perfect fit, but
Yeah.
Wes Miller was also a perfect fit, and it didn't work out. So
this league is better. The one thing I've noticed, like for all the Big Ten fans on here, the depth. Thanks, chicken. The depth in that league is showing up. Like you've seen it in the number of these teams that made it. I would also contend some of those teams got pretty easy draws. It's neither here nor there. But the Big 12 is going to need. I'll say that I don't want it as an Iowa State fan necessarily, but this league will take a huge leap forward if Baylor. I'm going to throw Cincinnati in that category. Kansas State, teams that have been historically good, need to kind of get back to that level. So I think Calhoun's actually a really good hire. Again, what's the Tom Fornelli joke? Great hire. Have no idea if it'll work.
yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. We'll see.
The Arizona State one's really interesting.
You alluded to St. Mary's. So
Fraud.
Randy Bennett. Yeah. Randy Bennett going to Arizona State. I'm also saying fraud. I don't see the vision.
He is a WCC merchant. Has one European player on his team every year, and everyone acts like they're good. He did give us Joshua Jefferson, so I guess we have that to thank. I don't know. I mean, the metrics always love him. They do well in that league. He's 60. So
that's the thing is I think
not a super conventional hire.
He's kind of past the point where you think he could make it work.
Could be wrong. Maybe he'll turn into Mac Brown at North Carolina. He's won a lot of games. Whatever system he has clearly works at that level, but I don't know that success has shown up against other high majors in the non-conference or in the NCAA tournament. So, Tom Turner, Jarrett Blunt, shout out to him.
What's up, Tom?
Now in the WCC. Any other big ones in the big? I mean, the other thing we got to address is the speculation around Bill Self.
Yep.
If he has one more year in him, it's just that. It's one more year is what it's starting to sound like. And he may not even make it that far.
I kind of thought this year would be the year that he, flipped the switch and hit his second hit a second peak with Darren Peterson and a different kind of transfer portal class. And it just didn't work out. And I mean, he's kind of been, he's had the health scares. He's been on the fence about sticking with coaching. It wouldn't surprise me if he just says, you know what, I'm done. I won my 2 titles. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm good.
It's what I don't know. These younger coaches just seem more cut out for this. I wouldn't say McCollum is young, but I think he can get this figured out with the portal. I don't think, and I think Calhoun is the right age. We've already seen this with these old guard coaches. Take your pick, right? Jim Boeheim, Jay Wright, Jim Larinaga, Bob Huggins. A little different reason why he's not in the sport at the moment, right? But we've seen these coaches wash out. Roy Williams, Mike Krzyzewski.
It's kind of a unique situation though, because of the health.
He's got health issues for sure.
He's 63. He's
right.
Had a great run. He would be a guy that you'd kind of pinpoint and say, "Yep, I bet he calls it quits early."
I would agree. He doesn't have a ton else to prove. But it's also 4 straight seasons without making the second weekend. That's unheard of. No titles.
On the heels of winning a national championship, so
correct.
But actually, that reminds me, man. I got to throw a stat at you because this blew my mind. Did you know that TJ Otzelberger is 4 years older than Ben McCollum?
What?
Yeah, TJ looks 48.
Ben looks like he's 55.
Well, he's not doing himself any favors. He needs to go to Turkey and get the hair transplant surgery. But he wears the shirt and tie. He's got the male pattern baldness, and TJ he's jacked and he looks great for 48. And it's it blew my mind when I
wouldn't have thought even TJ was 48, but I guess he did coach at Iowa State for a long time. He was there early in Fred's tenure.
Yeah,
really
like he
surprised me.
wears this medium shirts. He's ripped and like he, looks like he'll beat your coach up. And like,
That's an
yeah,
interesting
he's
stat.
older.
That's an interesting stat. I two last things I'll say. Like McCollum did a great job coaching against Florida. So any Iowa fans listening, like, also thank you. Like, I'm sorry, Mike White can kiss my ass. I do not like that guy. He is
I mean, Todd
scuzzy.
Golden is who you're
Sorry,
thinking of.
not Mike White. Sorry, not Mike. Todd Golden. Kiss my butt. Don't like
He
that
is
guy.
extremely unlikable.
No, the way he celebrated after the title last year was extremely immature. I thought. I know he's young. The off the court stuff is kind of beside the point, even though it's not great if it's true.
A lot of funny jokes about him, like surprisingly bowing out before a Sweet 16.
Just I see what you did there. I felt like he's kind of whiny, childish. I think I don't know. I'd be curious, Brady, if you're still listening, if Iowa fans agreed with this too. But it seemed to me watching that game, Florida seemed a little dirty and almost like Golden was like encouraging it. I don't know if it was maybe it was just player frustration, but I do not like that guy. I am not sad that they got beat. Like kudos to them for knocking them out of the tournament. It also helped my bracket because I had Vanderbilt beating them anyway. So it wasn't the upset I wanted, but I didn't have Florida going far, so that still kind of served my purposes. But
the fact that Todd Golden has Kelvin Sampson's championship ring is just, I mean, that's just a crime. That
it is an absolute crime. And Golden I think McCollum outcoached him in that game. Golden made some really bad calls down the stretch. And so I give him credit. I know we talked a lot of crap about it, but Ben can clearly coach. I think he's got a lot to prove yet, but it's been fun. Not fun. It's impressive what they've done. We'll just give him. It's not been fun. It's been impressive though. I'm really excited to watch. Probably honestly, Keeney, both games in that regional, Nebraska, Iowa. I love all the shenanigans around Twitter. That is the one fun part. Talking about the beer situation in Houston. Trying to come up with funny names for this game. There's been great memes. Houston, Illinois is crazy interesting to me. I've actually got Illinois in the Final Four just because of how I think they match up with Houston with their shooting, their speed, their size. But if Houston wins that game, I think it's another trip to the Final Four. I think they're a lot better than either team playing in that Iowa-Nebraska game. So I'm really fascinated to watch those games. Michigan State, UConn doesn't really do it for me. Don't know why. Like I hope Michigan State wins. That's who I picked. But and then obviously like Purdue, Texas, don't really care. I think Arkansas and Arizona is going to be a great game. Anyway, it is fun. I do like the Sweet 16. I wish there'd be a high point or something in it, but those days may be past. Sorry,
we've got a ton of comments about the women's program, and I do want to get to that. But real quick,
speaking of things we don't like,
real quick, I want to ask you because it was kind of floated out there that Todd Golden might have been trying to foul up 2.
Heard that he had talked about fouling up 2.
What do you think about that? I mean, my first thought was, yeah, it makes sense. And then my second thought was, no, it doesn't. That's really stupid.
Really, really stupid, in my opinion. However, I think what he was going for was, I think Maniau and Banks both had 4 fouls.
Well,
there's maybe a third guy that had 4.
Someone who's not a good free throw shooter. Like Bennett starts got the ball in his hands. You don't want to foul in that situation.
No, you don't want to foul Bennett for sure. But that you're just giving them consent to tie the game and go to overtime. But I mean, maybe even if that's what you wanted to do, like if you're Golden, you just go out if you get to an overtime and you just attack the rim. Maniau and Banks could not stop fouling, and they don't have the depth to survive those guys going out. And you're going to get trips to the line to make free throws. Like that would not have been a bad strategy because Iowa was in foul trouble. But
I just feel like I feel like the odds are greater that you give up an offensive rebound on a missed free throw.
No question. And now you're screwed.
Them hitting a contested 3 as the clock's winding down. I didn't like the way they played the end of the game anyway, but if you play straight up, you're like, okay, well, we're not going to go up a 3. There's a 30% chance Iowa makes a 3 at the buzzer. I know they're not a great offensive rebounding team, but I feel like you're way more susceptible to like a tip in than you are.
Yeah, and I also didn't like to play at the end of the game. Like you've got to set a screen and try to free that guy up for a 2-pointer. Basically, the shot that Jaden Bradley hit. Like that's what you want. you obviously want to try to get to the rim if you can, but to dish the ball, and
I just
maybe
feel
he
like there was a
wasn't supposed to.
miscommunication there.
Was that what it was? Okay,
I
just a terrible way to end that game.
didn't realize how much time he had or didn't have.
He didn't have time. The buzzer was off by the time he passed it.
Yeah,
Basically, like
there was just no way that you could do all that in 4 seconds. Like I didn't
I
like the
also
way
don't
they
know
played that at all.
how you don't let Hauk take that shot. Let one of the 6'10" guys who can shoot over somebody rise up and take a 10-footer. Like that would have been a much better look than what they tried to do there. Going to the rim with a small guard just did not make any sense. All right, should we talk about the women's program? I know we got a bunch of questions about it.
Yep. So this is breaking news as of a couple hours ago. Starts here. I mean, this has been a day of portaling, but here's the big one. Addie Brown is hitting the portal.
Yeah.
Not good. Matt, is this the end of the road for like Fenley's gonna come back? But this kind of feels like it's slipping away from him. Like next year, we assume that Audie Crooks is going to come back, but it feels like it's just a farewell tour for Audie. Who knows what else is going to be around here? And then when she goes, what do you have left?
I don't have any like concrete information from a source that I can share confidently, but Keeney, I don't think it's done.
No, it's not. And you think about the other names that left today, like Reese Beatty was going to be a starter. Reagan Wilson's a contributor. Who was the other one that played? I can't remember names.
Allie Tankey didn't play much, so I was not surprised to see her go in the portal.
Allie Tankey, though, she was a highly regarded recruit.
Really highly regarded recruit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't enjoy this because I know some people connected with this program, and I generally like this program, but I think some of the noise in here, Keeney, is just normal player movement. You're going to see it after the men's season. Like Xavier Mitchell may not be here next year, right? Like that's kind of where Allie's at. Like I get it. Reagan probably wants a chance to start, and she maybe will at another smaller P4 school or drop down slightly. If you've seen Addie go in the portal, which I am really sad about because I loved her game. You might see Jada or Audie go in the portal too.
I'd be surprised if Audie left. Jada, it seems likely.
She'll be back.
Okay, well, I should say not likely. We don't have any inside information here, but would it be a shock to you if Jada left?
Not a shock. It would surprise me. I think she likes it here. But I don't know. Like, what kind of team are you committing to come back to? Like, who's on that team?
I mean, this just feels like the trickle down effect of like what we've been talking about. Fenley has had these super talented rosters, and we've started the year so strong, and then we can't close games against good teams. We get these leads, we let them slip away. We can't run offense late in games. We slip from preseason top 15 to an 8 seed in the tournament, losing the first round.
It's like wash, rinse, repeat. And I just don't know. Like, I would have thought they could find a way to keep those 3 players together and try to build more around them. But you've had, for Addie Brown, 2 seasons of that, and it hasn't gone anywhere. And she's got 1 year left. She's going to grad transfer, so she's got her degree. And
I don't know if there's actual smoke to this, but there's a lot of people speculating that she might consider going to Iowa.
Boy, that would really stink.
That would suck.
She's from Kansas. I think either KU or K-State would make a lot of sense.
I would think that she's going to be a high priority target for like a UCLA or a USC or even like a UConn, or I don't know how they handle like bringing in.
Totally agree. I know
South Carolina, one of these SEC powers. Like
she was hurt and her numbers weren't that good, but with her size and versatility, she'll be extremely highly sought after. I don't know, man. If AJ and Polk and Jada and Audie Crooks stay, and you can bring in, because that's the other thing. This team was so young; they had 1 senior. All right, Kenzie Harris another year. So I think Sid Harris was the only senior. So if there's no more, then maybe you can kind of bring some good players in, and hopefully it works again. But if you see many more defections,
I think we're going to see
I just
more,
don't.
and it
I
just
think
feels
we
like
will
this
too.
program is out of momentum.
The oldest Paul Rhodes out of gas meme from Cyclone Fanatic message boards of years back. It really feels that way. And I could see if Kirk stays that there's one more year Fenley coaches, and when she's done, he's done, because you're going to really have to start over once she leaves, right? She's obviously the centerpiece of the team. It's really disappointing. I mean, you've had all the talent you need to compete. This year you started the season off really well. You obviously had injuries that derailed it, but man, it seems like it's been the same thing every year since they made the Sweet 16 back in, was that 21?
Yeah, well, like even if Audie comes back, like what's she coming back for? It's not going to be to play for a team that competes for a Big 12 championship.
Just
It's
records
just
points
can she
because
break the scoring record? Can she, you know, put up some big numbers, keep the program in the spotlight a little bit? But it's
but
not looking like.
she's been loyal, right? She's an Iowa
Yeah,
girl, and she's got a good spot. She's got good sponsorship deals. So could she make more money elsewhere? Sure, she's probably already making quite a bit here. Um, I would imagine. And is there going to be as much value for her elsewhere compared to working with an Iowa company like Fairway? Um, so I don't know. Let's put it this way: I'm really not all that optimistic, and maybe the staff will prove us wrong with the players they retain and who they bring in and the plan that they put together. Um, I feel less nervous about the roster. We've got a good fan base. We've been able to recruit and get good transfers. Just more worried about the coaching. Like what results are you going to get next year, and how is it going to be noticeably different from what we've ended the last several seasons with? That's probably where I'm the most frustrated at the moment. So,
yep.
I don't know. I don't. I anticipate Bill will be the coach next year, but you hate after all the time he's given and the success we have had for it to kind of end this way. Because I also have noticed that there's some fan apathy setting in, and
Oh yeah.
um, and I
You see
know
I mean, you can see it in the comments. Like,
and I know there's a bunch of diehard fans that have always loved this team, and they're very loud on social media. It's a big group of them, and they've always been critical of all the people who have kind of just stumbled into this and want to cheer for the sport. That is the trade-off of women's basketball getting more eyeballs. Um, it's gonna be on more people's consciousness, and they want to win. They're tired of the way these seasons have ended. And I
yeah,
know the diehards are as well, but they're less likely to criticize. They're much more likely to support either way. And if you want this sport to continue to grow and take off and get more eyeballs on the program, you can't end the season the way this one did, and last year's, and the year before that, Keeney. It's just not going to help this
you
this
can't.
this
Yeah,
sport grow here.
you can't have a player the caliber of Audie Crooks and like flame out in the first round of the tournament. Like she's still in commercials. She's getting segments on Good Morning America, and like season ended a week ago. It's too late.
I know. It's really too bad. I'm not ready to play the dirge and have the funeral yet, but I don't think we're far from it. And I would take a lot to turn that around. And I just don't know if we're going to see it. So
Well,
I
this
be
stuff
very
very
interesting,
rarely
very
ends
interesting couple
the
weeks
way
to
you
keep
want it
it.
to. Like,
Yeah,
very rarely do these legendary coaches leave on their own terms and things are in a great place. So
agreed.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's gonna have to step it up. He's gonna have to prove that he's capable of leading this program into the future. And like, you got to nail this portal class because you got a lot you got to replace. And
Right.
I don't know. I probably haven't earned the right to name your successor at this point.
That'll be the next piece is if and when that does happen, which again, I don't anticipate it'll be this offseason. Um, who is it? It's a great question. Um, if it's in another year or two, does a different AD get to make that call too? Like we have no idea. So
Yep. Guess
we've
we'll
got a
see.
we've got a new president now too, and if he's involved with athletics, maybe he's got an opinion. So be very curious to see what happens in that sport here over the next couple months.
Yep. All right, Matt. I think that's everything. That's kind of a dour note to end on on a program that had so much optimism to start because
it was great.
Hey man, maybe we should have started with that. But anyway, Friday night's gonna be awesome. This weekend's gonna be awesome.
I may be in attendance.
Maybe going to Chicago.
It would probably be just me if I can get the blessing from my wife. Got a few friends that are going. I've got a really good college friend. Shout out to you, Phil, who lives by Wrigleyville. And I don't get to see him all that often, so I'm trying to scheme my way over there at least for Friday. Let's what feels like 44. That's the Cycle Mary hashtag. 44. Mom Chilovich dropped that in the chat.
Feels like 44.
It's been a fun season. I know there were struggles down the stretch when we played the best teams on our schedule. It does feel like we're playing our best basketball right now. I don't know how you can look at these 5 games, even the lost to Arizona in the tournament, and say anything different. And I'm super pumped and optimistic, even with the injury, just because I know what this team's capable of when they play together and they play hard. So on that note.
Yeah, Matt, this was great. And I hope next week, we're still talking about the Iowa State basketball season going on, but
hope we're talking about the Litecast from Indy. How about that? Boy, that would be electric. That would
be a tough one to turn down. All right. Well,
feed families, as the kids would say.
Let's get there so we can make that call when we get there. All right. Thank you, Matt. And thank you to all of you to watch. I mean, shout out, like 2,000 plus people watching. That's awesome. So we'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace.